Today, we're talking money. What's going on, everyone? F1 Pit Stop here. Today we're going to talk about the new cost cap that was put in place for the 2022 season. Now, the cost cap by F1 is defined as the cap is a device created to limit the amount of money a Formula One team can spend during a calendar year. It relates to a team's spending that impacts the race car's performance. Like with many things, F1 is thinking the more money a team can put into the car, the better the car is going to be. And the whole point of lowering the cost cap was to get those mid-tier teams and back-of-the-pack teams to be on the same level playing field as the Mercedes and the Red Bulls, who have honestly just endless money that they can throw at the car. Even the Ferrari, as such a historic team, I'm sure can bring in sponsors and has the reserves for cash. So back in 2020, Formula One let the manufacturers, the constructors, go wild with a cost cap of $175 million. Of course, we see that this heavily benefited Mercedes as they were able to throw everything towards it. And that's just the cap. That's not even saying that the lower teams are even going to be able to provide that much money. So you have the Mercedes and the Red Bulls, of course, dominating, and it shows in how great their car was with all the developments that they were able to bring out throughout the season because they could just come up with that money. In 2021, it got moved down a significant chunk to 145 million. And I will say, with them moving that price down, we did see an incredible title fight between Mercedes and Red Bull. Now, the Mercedes car was probably stronger all throughout, but, Max with his Red Bull was able to get the Drivers' Championship, which is pretty amazing. Now in 2022, the magic number is 140 million. And now it's getting to the point where it might be causing a little bit of strain on the bigger teams as, well, they want to pull away, they want to dominate. And this is shown by Christian Horner's comments that he's recently made, saying the following. 7 of the teams would probably need to miss the last 4 races to come within the cap this year, he said. It's not just about the big teams, it's the teams in the middle of the field who are really struggling with inflationary issues. The FIA has a duty of care. I know they are taking it seriously. Now, this is something Christian Horner said, who obviously has access, maybe besides Mercedes, to the most cash and would be able to even probably well exceed the $175 million cap. So we all think, hey, Christian Horner's looking out for the little guys, the little teams. Good for him. However, the Alpine boss rejected this, as well as Haas and Alfa Romeo, which are arguably very mid-tier teams. Haas even being on the back end of that. So I think that we can all, love Horner, hate Horner, love Red Bull, hate Horner. That made no sense, hate Red Bull. He's really looking out for himself, which you can't blame him for. I mean, of course he's going to want to throw as much money at the car in order to get it upgraded and as fast as possible. But he does need to realize that if they do that, then Ferrari can do it and Mercedes can do it. And we already see Mercedes in the Spanish Grand Prix made some incredible strides. George Russell was literally keeping Verstappen behind him with the defense he was playing. Verstappen wasn't able to make it happen until he put the softs on. We know that in these first few races, teams are still getting used to the new regulations. I mean, we're seeing cars spin off all the time because of the different shape and wheelbase of the cars. We see a ton of engine failures with Charles Leclerc happening, and even earlier in the season, a lot of the Red Bull engines would go out and they wouldn't be able to finish the race. So of course, the beginning of the season, teams are going to have to throw a lot of money at engines and different parts of the car to get it working properly for the rest of the season. Even just looking at what teams brought to the Spanish Grand Prix, it's pretty easy to see that, this budget might not go as far as everyone thought. I mean, just take a look at this. Mercedes basically brought an entirely new car to the Spanish Grand Prix, and I'll tell you what, it didn't help them out too much. 12 different upgrades for McLaren alone, as well as Alfa Romeo just bringing wild upgrades to these cars, hoping to find that competitive advantage. But with such a small cost cap, that really took a huge chunk out of their bottom line. With Alpine, Haas, and Alfa Romeo against it, of course, because they're at the bottom of the pack, they want to be able to spend just as much money as the Red Bulls and Mercedes and Ferraris at the top of the pack to really close that gap. When it comes down to it, I think that the budget cap being lower, this 140 million, and I think next year they're going to do 135 million. I do think that's a good thing. I think as long as all the teams will be able to finish out the rest of the season and they can still bring adjustments and work the car properly. I know F1's just trying to find that magic dollar amount that kind of satisfies everybody. I think it's the case where the small teams are still going to have to stretch their budget as much as possible, and the big teams are going to have to, well, honestly, live kind of frugally to not overspend too quickly. So I think that lowering the budget cap to this amount so far seems to be going pretty well. And I think if it came down to where multiple teams had to miss the last few races due to budget cap, the FIA would work something out where maybe they just can't bring any new upgrades, but they're still able to race. I really don't see them not letting a team race. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel. We're a bit over 100 subscribers now, really growing this thing. And catch you next time.